Today we're going to be installing a main fuse, an Alt 80 fuse inside a Bobcat. So I made a stupid mistake while I was out wheeling the other weekend, and I had to pull my battery out to hook it up for a ready welder because we had a broken truck. And when I put it in, I put the battery in wrong. And I connected the terminals up to the wrong spot, and that blew my 80 amp fuse. Luckily we were able to figure out a way to get it off the trail. Actually pretty easy. We just jumped that fuse, which is risky, but it got us off the trail, and I haven't driven the truck since. So today I'm going to show you how to pull out that 80 amp fuse because it's a little bit more complicated than just yanking out the fuse. So let me show you what we're up to. So right here is the fuse box in the engine bay, and what we're doing is we're going to fix this guy today, the Alt 80A, ALT. It's also called a fusible link or the main fuse. Everything has to go through that before it comes to all these other fuses. So what you need to do is just yank this guy off. There's a little tab right here on this side, and then pull it off. And then now you can see what we did on this side is we kind of just pushed these two copper things together so that they're touching so we could drive off the trail. So to pull this off, we actually have to remove this entire fuse box. There's a where is it? There's a bolt back here against the firewall, and then there's another one right back here on this side, and they look like they are 12s. So let's get that now. So I was mistaken. It was actually a 10 millimeter to get these bolts out. There's this one on the back side here. Make sure you're going the right way. There we go. Spin that one loose. And then there's another one back here. Sorry if my head's in the way. There we go. Oop, camera. So once those are done and out, you can lift this up, and then we actually have to remove the bottom side of your fuse box. Let's make sure that the ground wire is not hitting the battery. Let's pull it. Let's move it way over here. Okay. So one of mine's already broken, but there's these two little tabs on this side that you have to pull back, right here and here. You pull those back, and then the whole bottom side kind of pulls out and away. On the other opposite side are just two tabs. One of mine's broken. This side's not doing too well. These slide up and into the box, and then these two pop up and go over the tab and hold it into place. So when you pull that off, let me show you what's going on underneath. And then you can see right here that there's a nut or a bolt on both sides, and they're trapped by walls. So it's almost impossible to get this out. A lot of the forums say to remove the bolt and you can get it out, but there's no way for me to remove the bolt. So I'm going to actually try and pry this back just a little bit. I mean, it's already busted, so it doesn't necessarily matter all that much. So I'm just going to push this down and hope for the best. Let's see. Oh. There we go. So just a little bit of force, and now we should be able to pull that all the way out the bottom. There we go. Now I can undo both of these bolts on each one of these sides, which are 10s, and it looks like there's a Phillips. Oh, that one's small. But it's a 10 on this side, so I can, and I've already actually loosened it, trying to get it out. So if we pull that apart, I still need to release the other side. Let's try an 8 first. I have a 1/4 inch drive 8 here. That fits pretty good. Hands are all in the way, sorry. Oop, there it goes. Gotta undo both of these. There we go. So the 8 millimeter worked really well on that side. I'll just pull them out the rest of the way with the Phillips. Here's one. And here's 2. Remember how everything goes together, because we're going to be putting it back together the same exact way. So these 2 red ones went on this large panel, and then this guy, the smaller one, went on the opposite side. So here's what it looks like once everything's removed. It's just this simple little tab big thing that comes through, and then you bolt to that. So in theory we should just be able to pull this out. I don't think it's the whole thing. Yep, there it goes. So there is your fusible link, your Alt 80 fuse. So I need to go get another one of these. This is gonna be reused. So yesterday ended up with us finishing up that podcast, and then from there we had to run up to go get Charlotte from Toyota after getting a little bit of maintenance done, and then Tyler ran off to go get his wheel bearings that have been pressed on and the axle shaft, and then bringing it all back here. Then Tyler had to take off, and I pretty much had a fairly lazy evening after that. While Tyler was at the auto parts store, he actually bought me another 80 amp fuse. Which was about $3. The one from Toyota is about $20, and it would have taken about 2 weeks to get here because the only one that is in the country, or the 6 that are in the country, are all over on the East Coast. I don't know why it takes 2 weeks to go from the East Coast to the West Coast, but that's what Toyota said. So I'm going to put this one in, which was $3 from the auto parts store. Also, this guy has cool little cutouts right here where the other one just has some round sections. So I'm hoping this one's going to slide in much easier. Let's find out. So what you're going to need to do to put this all back together is pretty much reversed order. You have this, the fuse holder. We're going to slide that right in the top and push it down over the top. You'll see the two copper leads come down and stick down through the bottom. Now we're going to connect all the wires back up. To do that, you'd need the old hardware. So all the reds went onto one side. Also make sure, one thing I need to point out is that the little tab that you pull needs to be on the correct side. So when you're pushing this back in, you're going to need to know which way that's facing. So we'll pull this main one up, pull all these little guys up. Let's do one at a time. Once again, you want to make sure your ground is off of the battery, or your power is off, one or the other. You just don't want to have the battery connected. So we'll just tighten these up right now. There we go. The other side, which happens to be a 10. I think this one's different than what you guys are going to have. The bolt looks different. Everything looks different. So hopefully you have 8s all around, but for some reason I've got a 10 on this side. All right. There we go. Now we just slide this up like we did on the when we slid it out, and thankfully this new style, actually snaps right up and over. Now we need to put the base in on the underside, snap that together, and then put the fuse box back into place. Alright, to snap the bottom on, what you do is you need to line up all the cables. That's the first thing that you're going to do. So one of the big master cable comes over here. And it's going to come out the side where this little lip is on that corner. And then there's one major cable that comes all the way up to through and to the front. Then we'll slide this underneath and pop it up into place. There's actually a little tab right here on this, and that goes into one of the holes, and then the threaded hole on the fender well. So you can line that up, and that's what helps you line up everything else. Snug those down, then grab your cap. That goes this way for me. Hook on this side, push it on down, and you're done. So now you just need to plug up your battery, and you should be good to roll. I appreciate you watching. Hammer down on that subscribe button, and don't forget, keep crawling.